Everybody, sure appreciate you being here. Beautiful day, beautiful setting, and a good, hard, tough football practice. Appreciate the guys coming out and practicing the way they did. And, we're kind of twofold. We're working our way toward the final decisions and then also working our way toward the start of the season. So that's our kind of dual path right now. Happy with the guys. I thought they really got out and got after it today. See some extra guys running over there doing some extra, which is impressive. So I like the way our guys work. I think that's kind of how it's supposed to be, and this is a hard-working group. We did have a couple injuries. We had Xavier broke his clavicle, so he'll be out for a while, and Dayton Wade had to have surgery on his chest, ribs, so he'll be out for a while. So those are the two injuries you have. All the other injuries are stuff that we really expect everybody to be back practicing next week. If they're not practicing right now, we expect them to be practicing next week at this point. What questions do you have?
Does that include like a Mark? We saw Mark working off the side.
Yes, that does. That's all those guys.
Okay.
Well, I mean, Xavier likely is up in the air.
So as you said, Lamar would be back out there practicing today.
Yeah.
How did he look for you?
I thought he looked good. It's a good practice. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of mental work, obviously, for the quarterback here at this point in time. So he's working through that, trying to get it right. We had a full day. Have a full work day tomorrow. Another full work day on Wednesday. Then they'll get 4 days away, and then we'll be back Monday in the game week.
Do you get all the way into the Bills at this point in this week, or is it still sort of your next week is kind of your normal game week?
We get into the Bills now. The Bills and, even some other stuff too. For other upcoming games, we'll start working on things.
On the roster deadline obviously looming, do you guys in your mind have it set, or is it still kind of working through some of those final spots, and how much does special teams weigh into those last few spots?
Well, start with the last part. Special teams will weigh in. I mean, we talked about that last week. The roles are very important, and you got to play at a high level, especially with the new kickoff return rule. What was the rest of the question?
Just if you've kind of made up your mind already, or you're still kind of working through one or two things.
I always admire the guys that can remember all three questions and then kind of go back through it. It's so impressive, the multi-layered questions. You got to keep it simple for me. But what was that question again? we pretty much have it made up. We do pretty much have it made up, but things can change. And there's calls going back and forth, I'm sure, with Eric and the scouts. And for us on the football side, you lock in on the football, and that's what we told the guys today. We had a couple guys who were released today, and they'll be looking for their next opportunity as well. And they're good guys, and they worked hard, and they showed that they have a future in the league. Somehow, some way, he's got to keep growing as players. And then the rest of the guys here too, the same thing. There's a little anxiety, but they didn't let it show in the way they practice. They're out there, they're doing it. Because you don't know what's going to happen. There's the 53, there's starting jobs, there's special teams jobs, there's a 53-man roster, there's the practice squad, there's other teams, there's trades, there's all kind of things that can happen. So really your job as a player is to get out there and play and do your best and play your best, and when you do that, good things can happen for you.
There have been some years where you guys have made a trade literally the day of the deadline, roster cut down. Do you discuss that with Eric now? Do you sense there's still possibilities of that with this year?
Well, I just know there's a lot of conversations going on. I think when, and he'll kind of apprise me of where it's at, and he has. But when something gets to be serious, then becomes serious, and usually it does work its way to the last minute. Usually it seems that way. And that's kind of where we're heading tomorrow.
Some of these guys might not make the roster, but the undrafted guys, especially this last preseason game, really seemed like showcase the depth you have when you bring in undrafted guys. What do you think has allowed Eric and the team to kind of bring in guys of that caliber every year? Yeah,
I just think we have a really good system. We have great scouts. Eric's obviously a great leader. Been doing it here for a long time. Had a lot of success with the undrafted free agents. And we had guys who were trial guys that are in contention to make the team this year. And that doesn't always happen. And I'm sure there are guys in contention to make the team that other teams didn't even have on their list at all. It shows you how deep we dig. I think we have a really good system that has been built with deep foundations, here, and we operate at a really high level. I also think that we work hard. We develop our players, we bring them in, and we give them reps. We're not practicing for an hour and 10 minutes out here. We're out here, we're giving these guys reps, we're giving them walkthrough, we've got meetings for these guys, we've got extra meetings for the young guys. We try to develop them because we think if you sign with the Ravens, you should get coached, and you should get every opportunity to to have a fair shot, you know, and it's not just a token opportunity, a real opportunity. And we feel like as coaches, that's our job, to develop every guy in the roster. And when you do that, it's not just the fact that you have guys who have a fair chance. It helps you bring in guys next year for sure, because if I'm an agent, I want to send them to Baltimore because they're going to get coached and they're going to have a chance. But it also makes your camp better. And when your camp's better, top to bottom, you have better practices from top to bottom. So you're the Lamars and those guys, they get better practice too, because they're going against better players who are better prepared, who are coached better, who know what they're doing. And just, I think, in the end, it makes your whole team better. Was that a pretty good answer?
Yeah.
Pretty deep?
Yeah, I just have the sun in my face.
On Jaire, first, do you expect him to be one of those guys that would be back next week?
I do.
And secondly, when he's missed that much time, what's the concern, or however you want to put it, you know, being able to ramp him up for the regular season?
Yeah, well, he's been working hard as far as all the non-football stuff. So, you know, he's been chomping at the bit. You know, he's been trying to break out of prison. You know, he's been locked away in there. It's a nice place. It's beautiful, but in his mind, it's a prison nonetheless. And they're doing what they need to do to get him ready for that. But yeah, practice is important. You know, and he's a veteran guy. He wants to practice. So when he gets out there, I'm sure he'll be going at it. But it'll be our job too to monitor that as well, to make sure that we do it right. It's a long season, and we want to bring it back the right way.
John, is Hummel one of the guys that's banged up, and you brought him in at the very beginning of free agency? How important do you anticipate him being for special teams, knowing you did lose a couple of the veteran linebackers last year?
Yeah. Hummel's, he's going to make the team. You know, he's going to be a big part of what we're doing. He had that hand thing, so he had to go in there this week and do a little minor procedure that he should be practicing next Wednesday. It should be good to go for the game if all goes well, which they say it's going great.
I know you don't like comparison questions, but as far as the level of depth, it looked different this year, watching the 3s and 4s that not only had talent, but were all making plays, knew what they were doing, the level of execution to go with it feels, from an outside looking, it was better than I can recall maybe since you've been here. Is that fair?
It's hard to remember. I mean, you know, we've had a lot of good preseasons. You might recall.
Wins and losses, but just the whole way through.
Right, and I think that's a good observation. Certainly better than last year for sure. You know, if we're going to make a direct comparison, I feel like we're a lot better place right now as far as the preseason goes. Deeper, more guys playing at a high level for sure. I definitely see that, and I think that's a good thing. You know, hey, we're where we're at now, so it's all we can judge by, and I feel good about that at this point.
I know you never say never, but at this point, do you see any position group where you would think you might be looking for guys who are available after other teams do cutdowns?
Yeah, I don't think we're scouring. I mean, I know that they're scouring. I mean, I know they know everybody, but I would be hard pressed for me to think that we'd bring somebody in here that would be better than who we have. But never say never, and you never know what opportunity might present itself for sure.
John, how much joy do you get out of telling some of these guys that they've made the team? I'm talking about, you know, like undrafted free agents and guys that may have not been given much of a shot coming in.
So much joy. I mean, the whole thing is emotional. The whole thing is incredibly meaningful. Walking out of the tunnel back to the buses from Washington, one of the guys, young guys, you know, he was kind of walking, and you can tell he was emotional. And, you know, how'd you play? He goes, I think I did just okay, not great. And I'm like, man, I'll bet you played great, man. You've been playing great the whole camp. I'll bet you were physical. And he just gave me the biggest hug, you know, and it just means so much. I mean, I hope fans and all of us can understand, you know, how much these guys put into it, you know. So when you get an opportunity to tell a player that he made the team, maybe especially a guy that you didn't expect necessarily to make the team, but I promise you, he was calling his mom and dad every night and telling them how it went, and, you know, what the coach say and how many plays did you make, and, you know, I had a good play or I had a bad play or whatever it is, and it's just like your whole world's wrapped up into it as a family, you know. And sitting on the buses there, and right in front of us was all the families for whatever reason. The families were right there, and you could, I mean, so many families with rookie free agents jerseys, you know, and it's like, wow, you know. I saw 48, I saw 49, I saw 86, you know, 28, you know. Their families there, a lot of people, you know, and they'd come out and they'd get in there and they'd hug them and tell them they did good, you know. I just feel like that's what this is all about, you know. It really is. It's a human thing. Football's it's an amazing, crazy sport. You know, it's a real metaphor. I've always said this, it's a metaphor for life. I know it's not life, but it is life. It is life for the people who are involved in it. And I think that's why the fans involve themselves so much and make it part of their lives, because they can see how real it is. This is genuine, real drama, you know, and they put so much into it. I mean, look at our running backs, how hard they ran in that game, throwing their bodies in there the way they did for a quote-unquote meaningless preseason game, you know, and not meaningless to the people playing in it, you know, and to their families. So I just feel like it's I appreciate your questions, where you're going with these questions, because to me they're exactly right.
Does it get any easier to tell these guys?
Man, no. It gets harder, Mike. It gets harder, you know. It gets harder. I'm heading toward grandpa territory, just like you know, and you see your kids in these kids. And, you know, I had a Miami of Ohio grad today, you know, and Reed, and we were talking, and had his Miami shirt on, you know. That's close to home for me, you know, and that's a tough conversation. But then the guys are so grateful for the opportunity and for what they felt like they learned and everything. And all I can do is give them a big hug and, you know, give me your phone number and say, hey, let's keep in touch. You know, let's keep in touch. All good? All right, thanks.
Thank you.